Science doesn't have an explanation for everything.
That has become abundantly clear.
Yeah, many mysteries exist out in the vast landscapes of our world.
What's the most mysterious place that you're gonna talk about on this list?
Might be Borneo. Might be the first one.
Well, let's dive in.
Alright, we're gonna start off with Borneo, the entire island. Yeah, strange stuff just seems to happen on islands, especially ones with such dense jungles like this. Now, first of all, there are said to be unexplained sounds that come from the jungle. Locals will share these stories about eerie cries and calls and all these high-pitched whistles. Now, of course, these jungles are full of animals with very distinct calls, but locals will say that they've never actually seen what makes some of these sounds. Some think that these sounds could be from yet to be discovered species, maybe somewhere deep in the jungle. And the dense jungles are also home to organisms including plants, insects, small mammals that we know very little about. Some of these plants are believed to have unique medicinal properties known only to the indigenous communities. Local stories also talk about tiny creatures that don't seem to match any known species, and they're hard to find because of how difficult it is to access the remote areas of the island. But new species are being found here all the time, and even some of the ones we already know about are strange, like the Bornean flat-headed frog, for example, that doesn't have any lungs and instead just breathes through its skin. Then you have the Mulu caves, where there are stories of phantom lights, orbs, or these flashes of light that appear in the darkness, which have never been 100% explained. So anyway, Borneo, it sounds like a bit of a magical place.
In the vast Chihuahuan Desert of northern Mexico lies a perplexing marvel known as the Zone of Silence. Officially part of the Mapimi Biosphere Reserve, this area spans a mere 50 kilometers, but holds a reputation that defies its modest size. Here, amidst the desolate beauty of cacti and stark mountain ranges, reality seems to warp. Radios fail to catch signals, compass needles whirl aimlessly, and even seasoned adventurers tell tales of eerie encounters. The zone's mysterious allure began to attract attention after repeated meteoric impacts in the area throughout the 20th century, which is already a super strange beginning to an unusual place, and perhaps it is suggesting a sort of celestial magnetism. It was officially named in 1966 after a Pemex expedition struggled with unexplained communication failures. Yet, it was a wayward American rocket crash in 1970 that truly sealed its mysterious status. This incident drew the gaze of international scientists, including Wernher von Braun, a key figure in the development of rocket technology, who explored the crash site extensively. Today, the zone continues to captivate with stories of UFO sightings and paranormal phenomena, and whether it's the unique environmental conditions or the sheer isolation of the area, the Zone of Silence remains a place where the unusual rules of science appear to bend in the most mysterious ways.
Now we head down under, the Australian Outback. The Australian Outback is a pretty wild place, but aside from all the wildlife, there's also a mysterious phenomenon known as the Min Min light. The Min Min light is a strange light that appears in the remote desert, described as fuzzy, disc-shaped lights hovering just above the horizon. The lights were first described by indigenous Australians. Some have described them as dim, others as bright enough to illuminate the ground. The lights are also said to behave a bit strangely. Witnesses have actually reported that the lights seem to follow or approach people, only to disappear when they try to approach them back. Some even claim that those who chase the lights never return to tell the tale. The Min Min light is still unexplained. There are theories, obviously, like bioluminescence from natural sources or optical illusions caused by atmospheric conditions, but none of these really fully explain all the strange sightings.
Mount Vottovaara, located in Karelia, Russia, is like the set of a mystery movie where nature itself plays eerie tricks. Known as the highest point in the West Karelian uplands, this mountain is full of legends and spooky phenomena that could make even a ghost hunter's heart skip a beat. Historically, it became prominent after a massive wildfire in the 19th century, which many believe unleashed the land's mystical vibe. tribes. What is utterly baffling about Vottovaara is its reputation as a dead zone. No animals seem to thrive here, and the plants are just as sparse. The trees twist into really surreal, creepy shapes, and giant boulders are balanced in seemingly impossible arrangements, as if defying the laws of physics. Some speculate that these oddities are due to natural geological changes, but others whisper about ancient supernatural forces at play. Either way, Vottovaara remains a place where reality seems to twist and turn as mysteriously as the paths that wind through its rugged terrain.
It's impossible to truly know what animals are thinking, especially dangerous ones like great white sharks, for example, and even more especially when they start acting strange. Great whites have traditionally been thought of as solitary animals. Occasionally there might be pairs, but they aren't traveling in packs or anything like wolves. A number of years back, researchers came across something pretty strange in the waters between Hawaii and Baja, California. It was this big gathering of great white sharks, and it seemed to be happening every year. It became such a phenomena that the area of the ocean was dubbed the White Shark Cafe. As for why they are all congregating there, that's the mystery. Scientists are still trying to figure out why they're choosing to gather in this specific spot out in the ocean. Maybe for feeding? Could it be something more nefarious? Is there something fishy going on? Some researchers think that the sharks might be using this area for mating purposes, but they don't know for sure. And the researchers also tagged some of these sharks and found that they were making deeper than normal dives.
Tucked away in the Chestnut Ridge Park of New York, the Eternal Flame Falls presents a natural mystery that has scientists absolutely baffled. Imagine a flickering flame nestled behind a cascading waterfall. This juxtaposition of fire and water feels like nature's own magic trick. Originally, the scientific community speculated that natural gas leaking from the rocks was the trick behind this eternal flame, but here's where it gets even more mysterious. Studies by Indiana University threw a curveball into this theory. They found that the rock underneath isn't hot enough to keep this flame alive on its own. So what is keeping the fire burning? At this point, your guess is as good as mine.
The thing about our scientific understanding of the world is that it's constantly changing the more we grow and learn, and this is very apparent when it comes to archaeology. We think one thing, but then a discovery is made and everything we thought we knew gets flipped on its head. That's exactly what happened in 2000 when a discovery was made off the west coast of India. Archaeologists found evidence of this ancient lost city deep below the water in the Gulf of Cambay. First, they discovered about a 5.5 mile long stretch of what looked to have been a river, which was now completely submerged, and surrounding this former river were all kinds of artifacts. You had pottery, there were sculptures, there was even human teeth. So people used to live by this river, but then would have got up and left as the land began sinking deeper and deeper into the sea. Now, some of these objects were carbon dated to around 7500 BC. Now, this was pretty shocking because at the time, it was thought that the first cities appeared much later, around 3000 BC.
No one said that I had to talk about places on Earth, so I'm heading over to one of the craziest planets in our solar system, Venus. Often dubbed Earth's evil twin, is a brooding spectacle of cosmic misfortune. It wasn't always this way. Scientists actually believe Venus might have once harbored oceans and a climate somewhat like Earth's. So what went wrong? Fast forward through millions of years, and Venus transformed into a searing hellscape. Today, it's wrapped in thick, toxic clouds that rain sulfuric acid with temperatures hot enough to melt lead. The air is a crushing blanket of carbon dioxide, creating a runaway greenhouse effect that makes global warming on Earth seem like just a minor hiccup. Oh, and the pressure? It's like being 3,000 feet underwater. This dramatic shift remains one of the solar system's top mysteries. Was it the relentless solar rays that cooked Venus into oblivion, or volcanic fury turning it into a planetary pressure cooker? Whatever the cause, Venus now stands as a reminder of planetary possibilities, where conditions can change dramatically, transforming potential paradises into realms of unfathomable harshness.
The Death Valley sailing stones were one of nature's biggest mysteries for hundreds and hundreds of years. They're found in Racetrack Playa, a dry lake bed in Death Valley, California. They're large rocks that seem to move across the desert floor on their own, leaving long tracks behind them that can stretch for hundreds of feet. So the question has always been, how do these heavy stones, some weighing hundreds of pounds, appear to glide across the flat surface seemingly on their own? For a long time, the movement of these stones was a complete mystery. Some people thought it might be because of magnetic fields or that they were just magic rocks. But this is a mystery that science has likely been able to solve. It seems to be a combination of wind, water, and ice that causes this. So during the winter, the playa can sometimes flood with a thin layer of water. At night, when temperatures drop, the water can freeze, creating sheets of ice around the rocks. Then as the ice begins to melt during the day, it gets thin and slippery. So a light breeze can then push the rocks across the slick surface. Spinning a lot of S's here. But the ice acting almost like a sail to help move them along. And for a long time, this was tough to figure out because it happens so slowly. It's hard to observe with the naked eye. It would be like sitting around watching your fingernails grow. And as fun as that is, most people don't really enjoy that very much. Plus, it only happens when the conditions are just right.
And finally, we are heading over to the Eisriesenwelt Ice Cave. With a name that translates to World of the Giants, it is no surprise that this place is the home to the largest ice cave system in the world. Hidden beneath the rugged embrace of Austria's Alps, this sprawling network extends over 42 kilometers, making it a subterranean kingdom of ice that seems untouched by time. The cave was first officially documented in 1879 by the explorer Anton Posselt, but even before that, this cave was whispered about for generations as it was believed it might be the entrance to the frosty underworld, a place where the Night King from Game of Thrones might come from. It wasn't until the early 20th century that brave explorers decided to actually venture into the cave. Within the icy walls, natural sculptures rise and fall. Stalactites and stalagmites grow here not from calcite, but from the freeze and thaw of penetrating water, creating a living ice art that transforms with the seasons. The further you go into the caves, each chamber provides its own sense of otherworldliness. It's like stepping into a place where the normal rules of Earth just don't apply.
Well, it looks like magic does exist after all. Well, we hope you enjoyed the wonder and mystery today.
Have you been to any of these places? Let us know down below in the comments.
I've been your host, James.
I've been your other host, Olivia, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!
Yep.